Good morning, everyone, and I hope that you are doing good today. So, yesterday, Miss Eileen discussed about verbal information skills until to motor skills. So, as today, as your teacher of this lesson, please listen carefully to our discussion. Understand? Our lesson is the continuation of her report of Miss Eileen, which is the attitudes until to the cognitive dissonance. So, we discuss first the attitudes. Attitudes are predispositions forward a person, an object, event, and other stimuli in the environment. So, meaning to say it is our action towards what is happening in the external or in the outside of ourselves. This manifests our attractions or aversions. Predispositions emanate from our will. Attitudes can be regarded as conglomerations of mental conditions that govern our behavior and conduct. So, meaning to say, our attitudes is driven in our mind, in our emotions, and our actions. What has been shown in the environment that simply displays of what is kind of our attitude. But attitude matters or attitude varies, it's depending upon to our emotions. So example of this in attitudes, if we are sad, we have a different attitude. But if we are angry, then we can hurt to other people. But if we are happy, we can uplift or we can bring to the people to the happiest things. So, we have a different attitudes or attitude are linked or distinct to have the same attitude. And we'll know that each one of us has a different attitude. So in attitudes, there are three influences. So here there are the three influences. So first, it's the affective influence. Second is the cognitive influence. And the third, it's the behavioral influence. So we are discuss first the affective influence, that what is mean of this. So affective influence, it accounts for the primary element that develops early in life. It means that children's earlier likes and dislikes are influenced by their parents. So for instance, parents influence attitudes by providing rewards and punishments. So, affective influence, it focuses on the emotions, and it is also something which makes students motivated to both external and internal in a process to achieving things. So, the example of this in this affective influence is if you are doing good inside in your class in the entire school year, or you are expected to receive something from your parents, they give a special reward to you, then in yourself you know that if you're doing good in your class, you have an reward from that given from your parents. So that's the meaning of the affective influence. So next, it's the cognitive influence. Cognitive influence, it deals with knowledge about a particular person, object, or event that has something to do with our attitudes. So, cognitive influence, its focuses, from the word cognitive, its focuses in the mental. So, if you have a knowledge towards the person or the things, you might know how to create or how to make about it. So, the example of cognitive influence. If you truly understand about your lesson, then you can answer well, or you might excel inside in your class, except those things which you never had understand. So the third, it's the behavioral influence. Behavioral influence, it refers to our behavior that affects our own attitudes. Basically, attitudes affect behavior, and now we claim that behavior affects attitudes. So, in behavioral influence, it focuses on your actions and your attitudes. So, example of this behavioral influence, if you have a group of friends, if you choose to go your friends which has a purpose, or meaning to say, which is the focus is to study and to make their family happy, that is a positive, that is a positive group or a positive influence about in behavioral influence. But sad to say, sad to say, because of this affecting factor in our environment, we have also friends wish to bring you to the negativity of the world. So it's the reality. So example of this, instead of studying, well, there are a lot of friends wish to bring you in outside, made a disco, or just enjoy a life outside the world. So the first that I give an example of about it's the positive influence, and the second example that I give, it's the negative influence. So it could be all of the attitudes and the influences of attitudes. But sorry class, I forgot about the unaffected influence by the sorry class. According to Freud, children try to identify people, usually of the same sex, during the resolution of the Oedipus complex. So the Oedipus complex, we'll know it's the term by Sigmund Freud in his theory of psychosexual stages of development to describe a child's feelings of desire for his or her opposite sex parent. So it's meaning to say, if you are a boy, you have a desire or appreciate your mother. And if you are a girl, you have a desire or appreciate your father. So in this stage, it's a child desire to their opposite sex. So today, class, we proceed to the cognitive dissonance. So class, what is cognitive dissonance? In your own opinion, and when you hear a word of cognitive dissonance, what it comes up to your mind or in your mind? Anyone? So today we tackled or we discussed about what is cognitive dissonance. So class, cognitive dissonance, from the word cognitive, it's speaking, it refers to our intellectual capacities. So, intellectual, it talks our mind, the way on how we think. So, it's that the cognitive. And the dissonance, it's the meaning, it is not consistent. So, the dissonance is not consistent. So, meaning to say, in dissonance, there are changes. It's possible time to time. And in this dissonance, in herself or in his self, he or she don't have a firm in decision. She or he don't have a firm decision. So, it's that the so cognitive dissonance. It refers to a situation involving conflicting attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors. So conflicting, there's a contradict between the two things, towards in your attitudes, towards in your beliefs, or in your behavior. And that can and it happened, or that can be happened to have a conflicting. It is because of our curiosity. So, and the cognitive dissonance was first investigated by Leon Festinger. So, he's the one, or he's the one to discover, or his theory is about the cognitive dissonance by Leon Festinger. So class, so that we can understand of what that cognitive dissonance means. So I gave an example in cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is when people smoke, they know that smoking causes cancer. So, and the example that I gave, when the people smoke, it's the behavior, and that smoking causes cancer, it's the cognitive, or it's the cognition. So, they are in a state of cognitive dissonance. Why? Their state of cognitive dissonance, it is because sorry class, it is because they already know what the effect, they already know that it can give us a negative effect, but they continue doing, and that's the reality, and that it's happening in our environment today. Even that a cigarette is so very expensive, but there's some people who use cigarette even they know that it can causes cancer, or it can destroy to their health. That's the cognitive dissonance. So another example, as a student, kibaw ka nga mag-exam imong maestra, pero wala ka nagtuon. So kibaw ka sa imong kaugalingon, you know in yourself nga wala ka nagtuon. So if the teacher give the questions, so maglisod jud ka og answer. Kibaw ka sa imong kaugalingon nga dili ka maka-answer kung dili ka magtuon, pero imo ra gihapon gibuhat, wala gihapon ka nagtuon. So it's the state of cognitive dissonance. So, what are the causes of cognitive dissonance? Do you have any idea, class, of what are the causes of cognitive dissonance? So, here are the 3 causes of the cognitive dissonance. First, forced compliance behavior. Second, decision making. And the third, it's effort. So, we discuss first the forced compliance behavior. So, here's the meaning of forced compliance behavior. So, forced compliance behavior. It occurs when an individual performs an action that is inconsistent with his or her beliefs. So, inconsistent. So, what I've said earlier, that inconsistent, there are changes time to time. So, she or he she don't have a firm of decision in herself. So, it's meaning to say, when someone is forced to do something they really don't want to do, or they followed what others want, if even if they really, or even they didn't like to do it. So, the example of forced compliance behavior. So, muiskwela ka sa college. So, in yourself, naa lagi kay gusto nga kurso nga imong kwaon. But, sad to say, ang imong kurso nga imong ganahan kay dili man maoy gusto sa imong mga ginikanan. So, you like in yourself to have a course like an HRM, but your parents want you to get a course which the education. So, in yourself, you know that you don't like an education, but because of that nga gusto sa imong parents, maong mapugos ka, ma-force ka nga mauna lang jud imong kwaon kay sila man ang mugastos sa imuha. So that's the forced compliance behavior. So next is the decision making. Life is filled with decisions, and decisions arouse dissonance. So, decision making, we all know that each one of us has a different decision in our life. We have a different likes and lives, and our decision, that can change us every time or anytime, and it depends us in ourselves. So, example in decision making. Suppose you had to decide whether to accept a job in an absolutely beautiful area of the country, or turn down the job so you could be near your friends and family. You would experience dissonance because if you took the job, you would miss your loved ones and your family. But if you turned the job down, you would pine for the beautiful streams and you enjoyed together with your family. So, naaragi na sa atong kaugalingon kung unsa ang atong mga desisyon. So, tagaan ka og trabaho pero adto sa gawas, or afar from your family. So, ug mo trabaho ka dito, mingaon gikas imong pamilya. But of dili, so ari ka, so you can enjoy together with your family. And it's the decision making that it can be a causes of a cognitive dissonance. Effort, and the third is the effort. It also seems to be the case that we value most highly those goals or items which have required considerable effort to achieve. So, effort, it's one we value most to achieve our goals in life. So, in effort, the dissonance would be caused if we spent a great effort to achieve something and then evaluated it negatively. So, For example, as a student, we studied as much, we give our effort, but in the end, the result is negative. So we can feel pain, so masakitan kita. Kay, ato naman gihatag tanan atong effort, nagtuon ta, but the end, the result is negative. So it because of all our efforts, pero wala ra gihapon. And that's the causes, and that's one of the causes of the cognitive dissonance, which is the effort. So class, Gagni delineated the various about successful learning experiences. So according to Gagni, learning is gradually building up in a structural hierarchy. It means that learning starts from being simple. So being simple until such time that it moves up to complexity. So Gagni said that the learning or our learning starts from the simple. So until such times it becomes or it moves up to complexity. That complexity, which means it's stated of not being simple. So that mean stated of not being simple. So the second is learning is a method in which people become competent and productive member of the society. So Gagni said that a learning is one of a method to a people or a person which to become a competent and productive of the society. And the last, it's learning is a product of various types of human behaviors. It means that human capabilities are developed by various stimulations from the environment. And class, that's could be all for today. So I hope that you understand what I've discussed. And class, I'm so sorry kaayo kay giubo jud ko then di jud malikayan nga ubhon gi ko istorya. And that's could be all. Thank you.